This is the best book that I've read in 2024. It's the best book in general, and it's also the best personal finance or best book about making money that I've read in 2024. My reason for saying this is because it breaks down becoming financially free quick as a young person in a realistic and a simple way. It brings out the flaws of other financial books, some of them like Think and Grow Rich, The 4 Hour Work Week, the popular books basically, and it makes you understand why you should question some ideologies in those other books. I've read this book twice and I've learned a few things which I'm going to be discussing in today's video. So if you want to know exactly what are the lessons that I've learned from reading The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ Demarco, then stay tuned. Millionaire Fastlane is basically talking about how you can retire in 10 years instead of 40 years, and that's where the fast lane comes in. It's not talking about a get rich quick scheme or all those fraudulent ideas, because when people say get rich quick scheme, they're mostly talking about scams and things like that. But that's not what the book is about. It's basically talking about legit ways or the mentality that you need to have in order to break through or make a lot of money quick. One thing I found fascinating about the book is the fact that the author gave us three categories of people. There are people on the sidewalk, there are people on the slow lane, and there are people on the fast lane. The sidewalks are people living paycheck to paycheck. Whenever they make money, they'll spend it frivolously on random things like shopping, just pleasure, vacation, just spending their money. They spend their money immediately after they make it. Those guys are sidewalks, and a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck. Even rich people sometimes live paycheck to paycheck. So you see things like athletes where they spend a lot of money and the moment they retire, all their money is gone almost immediately. And then there's the slow lane people. Those are the people that are saving 10% of their paycheck every month, investing in stocks. They're always denying themselves now for the future. That's delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is good, but then there are people that are not living now. They're always living for tomorrow, living for tomorrow. And the flaw with this is that when people are always living for tomorrow, they assume that everything is perfect. So you assume that nobody falls sick in your family, you never lose your job, everything is just a smooth sailing where you don't ever have to have a situation where you spend all your money or you lose all your money. So things like the stocks crashing down, if those kind of things happen, you don't have any backup plan or anything like that. So those are the flaws that come in if you are on the slow lane, and that's why the slow lane is not always guaranteed. And then there's the fast lane. The fast lane are for people that are into business. The entire book basically tells you that if you want to make a lot of money, you have to start a business. So it tells you the different type of things that you look out for to start a business. It's not all businesses that are fast lane businesses. This book really resonated with me because I'm already someone that believes that being an entrepreneur is the way to go. If you want financial freedom, if you want to make money, become an entrepreneur. And my reason is simple. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Most people in my family are entrepreneurs. Actually, I can dare to say everyone up until my generation because I have a 95. My parents, my aunties and uncles, they were entrepreneurs. And what I noticed is that even when the economy was bad, they wouldn't suffer for it because if there was inflation, they would increase their prices to match inflation immediately. But that's not something that people that are 9 to 5ers can do. If anything, if you ask your boss for an increase, there's an amount of money that you'd ask for as an increase, and you just end up losing your job because no one can give you, let's say, a 1000% increase, but you can get a 1000% increase in revenue if you have a job. So things like that are the reasons why I believe that being an entrepreneur is definitely superior to being an employee. So if you don't like entrepreneurship, you have no business, you don't want anyone to talk about entrepreneurship near you, this book might not be for you, but it's been literally mind changing or mind blowing for me. And I'll say mind blowing because I believe that for something to change your life, it has to first change your mindset. And nothing can actually change your life except you decide to change your life by yourself. And you can only change your life by changing your mindset. Now we're moving directly into the mindset shifts that I had reading this book. I love this book. I really like the book. So the first thing is think like a producer and not a consumer. For the longest time, I actually think like a consumer. So whenever I see something, I'm always like, okay, how does this serve me? as a consumer. And that doesn't help you if you want to be on the fast lane. If you want to be on the fast lane, when you see certain things, you don't ask, how does this serve you? You ask things like, how are they making money? How is this profitable? How is this working? What are they doing differently from this other person that makes their own business work more than the other person's business? And from thinking like a producer instead of a consumer, you start seeing opportunities around you. Reading this book also made me realize that I've in some way been practicing this ideology of thinking like a producer and not a consumer. And that's because of social media. I love social media. I'm not going to deny. In some way, I can actually argue that I'm a little bit, tiny bit addicted to it because I'm always on my phone, jumping from Instagram to TikTok to YouTube, from one app to the other. Because I like social media a lot, I've decided that I'm not going to be just a consumer. I'm also going to produce by creating my own YouTube videos and posting it for other people to consume. So, in that way, I've kind of adapted that ideology of being a producer as well as a consumer rather than just being a consumer. But from what I understood, from constantly wiring your mind, thinking like a producer, eventually you're going to find a problem that you can solve. So eventually, I might not just only be posting videos on YouTube talking about random things that I like or random things that I find interest in. I might actually find a problem that I can solve and provide value for other people. Now, talking about providing value for other people, if you want to make a lot of money or if you want to become financially free, retire early, because retiring old, that's retiring at 65, is really not that pleasurable as people make it seem. Because at 65, most of your life is behind you, no longer ahead of you. You've achieved most things that you're going to achieve. If you want to become financially free young, you also need to provide value to millions, to a lot of people. So the book says if you want to make millions, you need to serve millions. And then I was like, okay, this makes sense. If you want to make a lot of money, you're not going to make a lot of money from opening a store on your street. Because if you open a store on your street, you're only going to be able to serve the people on that street. But if you have something that you can leverage even more people than the people that are on that street, then you have possibility of affecting the lives of more people, providing value to more people than the people that are on that street. And thank goodness there's the internet, because ever since the advent of the internet, a lot more people have become millionaires than has ever been in history. Because the internet has leverage, you can literally post something and anyone anywhere in the world can patronize you, depending on the nature of the product or service that you're providing. Anyone can patronize you, and you have more chances of affecting the lives of more people. So, when next you're thinking of a business idea, think of a business that can affect the lives of millions. And that's also why I like social media as well, because social media, you're not depending on people in your country, people on your streets, people in your city to patronize or watch your content. Anyone can literally watch your content anywhere in the world, literally can watch your videos or support you. But then it doesn't have to be social media, it can be anything really. So the next time you're thinking about that business idea, make sure you're thinking about how can I serve more people than the people around me. Don't just box yourself in, because if you want to make millions, you need to affect the lives of millions. The third lesson I learned is that you need to be frugal with your time. A lot of people are not frugal with their time. I am also included. We put value on our time within our work hours. So your 9 to 5 time, let's say for example, you earn $30 an hour, and in your mind, your time between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. is worth $30 an hour. But your time after those hours, that's your free time, is not worth anything. Because you don't place value on your free time, you basically squander it anyhow. Let's say you wait in line for 2 hours just to save $5. You drive 2 hours just to save $20. Meanwhile, you wouldn't accept a $10 per hour job. Placing value on your time is the key thing here, because time is finite. You can't replace it. Money is replaceable. Money can always be printed, but you can't replace your time. If 1 year passes, that 1 year is gone. You can't even guarantee how many years you have in your life. Aside from even managing your time and being frugal with your time is also a measure of wealth. The amount of free time that you have, or the amount of time that you can have to yourself, is a measure of wealth. Not everyone can take time for vacation at any time that they please. Not everyone can spend time with their kids and watch them grow. So if you're able to do that, you're actually a lot wealthier than a lot of people. So next time you are thinking about a business, make sure you're paying attention to how much of your time is going to take away from you. Make sure that you're not just settling because you want to have a business, you are just going for a business and you're not thinking about, if I open this coffee shop, it's going to take the rest of my life away from me. Make sure that you're thinking, if I open this coffee shop and I need to hire someone, will I be able to make enough money to pay that person and pay myself enough, and as well as not having to work there all the time while still enjoying running that business? If the answer is no, then you're probably even signing for a worse deal than a 9 to 5, all because you want to have a business. Your ideas are worth nothing, they are worth zero. Tell me about it. I've never really been someone that thought, if you have an idea, keep it to yourself because people are out there trying to steal people's ideas. Not really. I've always thought, like, if you have an idea, if you share it with someone, that one person might, or that several people that you share your ideas with, might be able to help you in executing your ideas better. They might actually be the person that you need to actually attain that goal that you have. Well, a lot of people don't think this way. A lot of people are very guarded about their ideas, but the truth is that your ideas are not worth anything until they are executed properly. There's actually no idea under the sun that someone hasn't tried before. The person that we know is the person that has executed the idea the best. Anytime you have a business idea, don't let the idea of, oh, there's someone else already doing it, deter you from doing what you want to do. Because ultimately, it's the person that executes it the best that is the winner. There are so many businesses out there, and the only person that we know is the person that is doing it the best. Execution is what matters. So if you want to execute properly, you have to think of three things. Number one, make sure that you always listen to your customers' complaints. Number two, know your unique selling points. So what are you doing differently that other people are not doing? Why should people patronize you and not the other person down the streets? And finally, commit to one project. Do not do too many things at the same time. And for me, I feel like, I don't think I've said this on my channel before, but at the beginning of this year, I wanted to become more consistent on social media, and that included YouTube and TikTok. I don't like Instagram, but that might change in the future. Down the line, I was like, okay, I can't be doing YouTube and Instagram. If not, I'm gonna fall off and I won't be consistent on any platform. So I chose YouTube as my major focus point. This just reinforced that idea that you actually have to focus on one thing. The richest people focus on one thing, and then when that thing became successful, they started venturing off into other things. Think about any millionaire or billionaire that you know. Realize that they started off with one thing. When that thing started doing well, I'll use Mark Zuckerberg for example. Focus on Facebook. And when Facebook started doing well, he started venturing into so many other things that increased his wealth. Now, the last thing that I learned that is very important, I think is actually the most important, is that you need to take responsibility for your life. Don't blame anyone for anything that's happening in your life. If your life sucks, it's because of you. Refuse, and I mean refuse, to blame anyone or your circumstances for anything. If you are broke, it's in your power to change that. If you are sad, it's in your power to change that. The moment you give someone else your power, you make yourself lesser of what you are, and you really don't want that. You need to take responsibility and then change your life. The brokest people are people that always blame people. People that always blame people never get anywhere. The people that actually go further or far in life are people that take responsibility, admit their faults, and do something to change their situation. So the next time you are complaining and nagging and saying this and saying that because, oh, this happened and that happened, is because my mom, my dad, my uncle, and my aunt did this to me that I'm not happy, or they did this and I'm in this situation. Think about what you could have done to change that situation. And I can bet you will find so many reasons or so many ways to change your situation. So don't blame anyone for anything that's happening in your life. So those are the lessons that I've learned. Millionaire Fastlane is definitely a book that I'm going to always revisit. I got this recommendation from Ali Abdal. I really enjoy Ali Abdal's videos. I've talked about him a few times on my channel, and that's because I actually think he's a really smart guy. He mentioned it in one of his more recent videos, and I thought, oh my gosh, I should really check out this book. And I see why. I understand the hype. I see why people always talk about it. The name can be kind of deterring, like, okay, Millionaire Fastlane. This is sounding somehow, but I promise you it is worth the read. If you cannot read, it's actually a big book. It's quite voluminous. I say voluminous. This is what the prints look like. Um, but it's a really good read. If you pick it up, you will not regret it. Let me know if you've read this book, what you thought about it, if you're going to be picking this book up, and if you do pick it up, then you read it, tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll see you in my next video. I really want to chat about this book in the comments because I know that this book is like, is just top notch. Bye, guys.